Today we're going to check out Antop's HD Smart Panel Indoor-Outdoor Amplified TV Antenna. This is model AT800SBS, and it's also known as Antop's Big Boy model antenna. And here's everything out of the box. You can see the main antenna body with the VHF elements installed on either side. Right now it's standing on the indoor stand. I'll talk more about that in a minute. You get a mast clamp for outdoor installations on a post. A 40-foot roll of RG6 coaxial cable with a weather boot, as well as an extra 5-foot piece to install an additional TV or FM radio receiver. Here is the Antop Smart Boost amplifier. You can see it has the variable gain knob on it. It has two outputs. One is a coaxial cable to send to a TV, and the other is another RF output for another TV, digital converter box, or your FM radio. And speaking of that, you get some antenna adapters to make sure that you can easily connect this antenna to your FM radio regardless of the FM antenna input that it has. You get the power supply for that amplifier, as well as an easy to follow manual and some screws and anchors for a wall mount. So a pretty complete kit from Antop. The ability to turn this into an indoor, outdoor antenna, or use it as a TV and FM radio antenna as well. So Antop gives you a good clear set of instructions, as well as a variety of adapters to connect your antenna to an FM radio receiver. Now, first of all, if your receiver already has a standard 75 ohm coaxial connector for the FM radio antenna, then just simply connect the antenna as it is with the provided coaxial cable. If your receiver is the older style IEC European style connector, then this adapter here is included, and this will simply screw on to the coaxial cable to make this connection possible to your receiver. Another possibility here is if you have an FM radio that has the 2-pin clip here or connector, then you can use this little adapter here paired with this other adapter, which is also included. You can simply splice these wires together, red to red and black to black, and then just connect this to the coaxial cable on your antenna, and this will plug into your receiver. Another possibility is to simply use this adapter here if your receiver has the older style 2 screws or 2 wire connector. You can use this, again, connected to the coaxial cable, and then just attach this to your FM receiver. Some FM radio receivers use a 3.5 millimeter jack as an antenna lead, and that can be spliced together with this adapter. Just splice the 2 wires together, plug the 3.5 millimeter jack into your radio, and connect this end to your big boy antenna. And that's another way that you can adapt your receiver to mate up to this antenna. So you have a lot of possibilities here for making a good connection to your FM radio receiver with this antenna as well. Now, as far as testing this antenna for FM reception, I'm going to save that for another video because I really want to keep this video focused on the main function of this antenna, which is going to be for TV reception. And that's how most people are probably going to use this antenna anyways. But it's great to know that this antenna can double up as an FM radio antenna as well. This antenna can be used indoors, outdoors. You can take it camping. And another great feature is the 5G LTE cell phone filter, which blocks out all those powerful 5G LTE cellular signals from messing around with your TV reception. Now, even though Antop includes a nice variable gain amplifier with this antenna will work on its own without the amplifier or power supply connected, and that's a nice feature to have a bypass built into this antenna. Often, TV antennas that include a power supply or an amplifier must have those connected, or you won't get any TV signal at all. But since this antenna has a bypass built in, you've got a few more options to really tailor this antenna to your reception needs, because not all reception situations require an amplifier. If you live in a very strong signal area or very close to the broadcast towers, an amplifier can actually make your reception worse by overloading the signal. So that's a situation where you probably don't want to use an amplifier. However, if you live very far from the broadcast towers and the signals are weak, then an amplifier can really help your reception. So it's nice that this antenna has that much more versatility in its ability to be set up and tailored to your reception needs. A good rule of thumb is to try the antenna both with and without the amplifier, and go with the setup that either gives you the best signal quality or the most TV channels. Let's take a look at the setup detail on this Smart Boost variable gain amplifier. First of all, the 12 volt DC power supply gets plugged in here. We'll plug this into a wall outlet, and there is the green LED telling you that you've got power. Now, as I said a minute ago, not all reception situations need an amplifier. This, though, gives you kind of the best of both worlds, because it has a variable gain control here that allows you to either set the amplification at its minimum level, somewhere in the middle, or at maximum, so you can really tailor the amplification to your reception situation. That's a little more versatile than either amplified or non-amplified. So that's a really nice feature that this Smart Boost amplifier has. Now, this is where the antenna signal comes in, plugs in here at the amplifier, and this runs back out to your TV antenna. And then this coax cable here that's built right into the amplifier, this is your primary coax lead to plug into your TV or digital converter box. And there's a secondary RF output here that you can run to a second TV, digital converter box, or some other device with an ATSC tuner, or you can use this for your FM radio receiver as well. For an indoor installation, there are two options. You can mount this antenna on a wall. There's a couple of keyhole slots to hang this antenna on some screws on a wall. Or if you want to situate it on a table or shelf, there is a base that is included, and that simply snaps into place, and now the antenna is ready to be placed in the optimal location for indoor TV reception. With this antenna placed in my living room window, I was able to pick up RF channels 2 and 4 on the low VHF band, which in itself is a big deal because those channels are very difficult to pick up with indoor TV antennas. This, and the fact that this window is offset from the broadcast towers by about 50 degrees, and this antenna was still able to pick these channels up with a clean, reliable indoor signal. Converting this antenna from an indoor to an outdoor is pretty simple. Slide the base off by pressing this little tab here, and slide the base in the opposite direction of this arrow, and it should come right off. And to add in the mast clamp, slide the U-bolt in from behind on this bracket through these slots, and then add in the bar and the wing nuts. And now this antenna is ready to be mounted on a mast pole outside. The VHF element simply gets screwed onto these two posts on either side of the back of the antenna body. Just put these on by hand, don't use any pliers, and don't over tighten them. I'd recommend waiting to put these on as a last step when you're installing the antenna, and that way you can avoid them getting bumped or possibly broken. And there's no need for tools to install it on a mast. With these wing nuts, it tightens up nicely. Now we'll get it up in the air and test out the signal strength. All right, it's a cloudy November day, no more leaves on the trees. And here it is up on a mast, 17 feet in the air, pointed in the direction of my local broadcast towers. We'll go inside and see how it performs. And with this antenna mounted outside, it had no trouble picking up my 3 local over-the-air TV stations, all of which broadcast on the VHF band. On the low VHF band, RF channel 2 CKPR had a signal strength in the high 70s to the low 80s. RF channel 4 CHFD had a signal strength anywhere from mid to high 60s. and RF channel 9 broadcasting on the high VHF band, TVO, had a signal strength in the mid-70s, touching into the low 80s at times. Seeing as I live close to the broadcast towers, only about 7 or 8 miles away through the air, I found that keeping the variable gain amplifier set somewhere in the middle seemed to work best for my reception situation. Overall, the HD Smart Panel Big Boy from Antop is a versatile indoor-outdoor TV antenna that can also double as an FM radio antenna. It should work well in a city or suburban reception area where most signals broadcast on the high VHF and UHF TV bands. However, if you live close to the broadcast towers like I do, then I think it's also fair to expect low VHF TV reception from this antenna. If you're interested in buying this antenna, check the description of this video. There's a purchase link with a special discount code for my viewers.